So I have this video on my main channel about if social media is creating a more boring culture, right? And I sort of start off that main video with this somewhat self-important monologue about, how I don't have many vices in my life. And I frame it as if social media content addiction is my only vice, a dependency on this stuff. That's definitely true in a large part of the fact that that is one of my vices, one of my addictions. But I think the way I framed it in that video was frankly a little bit dishonest. I definitely have more vices than just that one. One of which is caffeine, for sure. But the one that, caffeine, I don't take that seriously, even though maybe I should. I don't know. It's something I want to quit eventually, but it's just, that's a topic for another day, generally. But a big one is spending. Not spending like, I'm not a huge spender. Like, I wouldn't say I'm going into debt or anything. Like, it's not to the point where it's awful. But something I do, I recognize that it is a coping mechanism. When I'm sad, I'll go on and buy something that I've been wanting. I'll go, F my budget plan, I'm gonna go buy something. I'll do that. And, I don't think that the financial repercussions of that are essentially like the worst in the world. Because, I budget. The rest of the time I'm not in debt or anything like that. I'm good, right? But that's not the topic here. The topic is, why does materialism make me feel so much better, Or any of us? Why does it make any of us feel better? I also thought of this because today I got these new brushes. Shout out to my friend who went to Michael's with me to get these because I was bored and I wanted to go get some stuff at Michael's, and I've been needing new brushes. I've only ever had 5 brushes for Paint&Talk, so I figured why not get some more, right? Turns out brushes are very expensive, but I couldn't help but notice I was really happy about getting these new brushes. And, I think there's a lot of people that'll be watching this and like, it's kind of like, oh, guy is happy when he gets a new shiny thing. Like the world keeps spinning. It's not the deepest thing on earth, but I look at materialism and I look at its relatively great brushes, by the way. This is my first time using them, and these are silky smooth, I gotta tell you. But anyways, I feel funny about it because materialism has a strange rep, or rap, what's the word? Or like a strange reputation. A very negative reputation. People see it as like, oh, you're materialistic. You love buying things. That's bad. We have this idea that to be less materialistic, to do things, if your hobby is yoga or meditating, you are awesome, you're cool, and you got everything under wraps. If you're someone that likes to shop, you need to learn self-control. You need to, fix your life or whatever. It's seen as, it has a stigma. Shopping as a hobby or fashion as a hobby or any of these things, they have stigmas, right? And I don't know why. I think obviously part of it is like, the religious influences of our morality, whatever. But I feel like that's kind of a boring way to look at this, to be completely honest with you. I'm just not interested in doing that because, like, I don't know, is it just me? I kind of hate when that happens, when it's like you have a question about something and all you get is just like a very real answer. It's like, okay, I wanted a little bit more of like a discussion around it, not just this is why it is the way it is. I don't like that. And that's why I do this, where I discuss things and get the answer wrong, and I enjoy getting the answer wrong because I'd rather have a good discussion with a wrong answer than just shove information down people's throats because, I Googled it instead of them. I don't think that's very interesting. And materialism is one of those things that's always puzzled me because, I get the idea that a lot of people will say of like, well, you can go into debt or, a lot of those things. What if you're not? Like, what if your hobby is fashion and you're not going into debt and you're doing fine? You just enjoy buying clothes. Like, you just enjoy shopping and finding new styles and expressing with them. And you do it you make sure in your monthly budget you have an extra $100 to buy new clothes. This isn't what I do, by the way. Well, now it sounds like it is definitely what I do, but you know, this isn't what I do. It'd probably be smarter than the way I do it. But you know, what if you do it in an extremely healthy way? Also, the opposite side of this is like, what if you're non-materialistic in an extremely unhealthy way? There's this Netflix documentary that made me so mad when I was like trying to get serious about graphic design a couple years ago. Everyone told me I should go watch it. It's called The Minimalists. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. And it made me really mad because it was like they had such a positive portrayal of these guys, because it was, you know, these guys who, like, you know, they don't even have any forks. They're forkless. They got no forks, and they're you know, living so anti-materialistically. And it's like they had a really positive outlook on, like, no forks. They have a fork. They have, you know, one fork, one bowl, one knife, and that's it. And it's like, why? Like, what is the actual benefit to that? You know, outside, you know, you can make up all these spiritual answers, but none of those are going to be a good enough answer when you have guests over and you don't have a fork for them. Respectfully. Like, it was like, why is this thing considered to be a virtue when there's such thing as going too far with anti-materialism? Like, is there a word for what something non-materialistic is? But there is definitely such thing as going too far with that, like 100%. Just like there's such thing as going too far with being materialistic, going into credit card debt, and, you know, I don't know, maybe you can't pay for something you need to pay for, or whatever it may be. We all know what that looks like. You know, so there's cases of going too far in all directions. So why is only one of them considered to be bad? Because I don't think it's an ugly truth that, like, new thing make people happy, you know? If I was like, okay, let's say you're watching this right now, and imagine just, like, your hobby, whatever it is, right? If I was like, I'm getting you a $100 thing that goes towards that hobby. If you're hiking, I'm getting you a great new backpack. If you're into boxing, I'm getting you some new gloves. If you play badminton, I'm getting you a new racket. You know, whatever it may be. Imagine that I would just, like, showed up at your doorstep right now while you're watching this, and I gave you $100 worth of anything for your hobby. Even if you don't consider yourself to be materialistic, you would be happy. You'd be like, oh, this is awesome. And, you know, why is it considered, so, like, why is it all of us get happy when we get new things, unless you're one of the minimalists on Netflix? Sorry, those guys just made me really mad 2 years ago. I've had to get that off my chest for a while now, I guess. But yeah, unless you're like someone who considers himself a monk, you're gonna be like, oh, this is sick. You got me $100. I don't have to, I've been wanting this thing, you know? So why is it, what's so bad about that? What's so bad about being just like, no, like, I wanted this thing and I'm happy now that I have it? Because I think part of it is because, like, there's an association that, like, this is a very empty pursuit, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, you know, it's the classic idea that, like, everyone wants you to have of, like, money can't buy you happiness. No, money can't buy you happiness, but, like, if you don't have any money, money can definitely help you out. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing that people are like, no, you don't want money. This is a conspiracy theory. I think some rich guy made that up and told his poor friend that. Like, I think his poor friend was like, man, I'm in so much debt. I wish I could, like, you know, live like you. And he's like, nah, you don't want the money. The money is ruining my life right now. I just, you know, I'd lend you some, but it's just ruining my life. The money is too much for me. Like, I'm convinced that's how that happened, because no, money can't buy you happiness, but it can get you closer than no money. It can. So I think we all have this idea of, like, the rich guy sitting in his giant mansion with so many possessions and no one's there, and, like, he's so sad. I think we all have this strange conception of this. And it's like, okay, but, like, what if that's not, you know, what if instead of taking a caricature of it, we just look at, like, the average person who has, like, a decent amount of disposable income and can afford to either invest in their hobbies or, you know, buy more things than the rest of us. That guy, like, he seems like he's doing well, you know? Why are we looking down upon that when he's clearly happy about it? Like, what's with this anti-materialism? Like, I get, again, you know, of course there's such thing as going too far with materialism, but there's such thing as going too far with anything. If I were to drink a liter of water every hour today, I would be dead by the end of the day. Like, but no one's saying water is bad. So why is this negative perception here? when there is definitely like a good way to do this, you know? For years, I don't know why I'm saying for years from the past, I still collect action figures. I like action figures. Definitely don't buy quite as much of them as I used to when I was younger, because, you know, you just grow out of things a little bit, for sure. But, like, I have a great Piccolo action figure coming Friday, and that's awesome. That makes me happy knowing that. Maybe I'll throw it up on Instagram, even. Yeah, you guys are watching this Friday, right? Or Thursday. Like, you should go check out my Piccolo action figure. It's gonna be up on Instagram. Like, because he's awesome. That's really cool. Why is it considered like, oh, you know, you should go meditate instead? And like, I think, okay, so will admit, like, if I'm trying to be a little self-conscious here, not self-conscious, self-aware here, I think like you could definitely say me being like, whenever I'm a little down, I'll go on Amazon and buy something. I think that you could be like, that's unhealthy. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not a great coping mechanism. Years ago in a YouTube video, I heard someone say the phrase, retail therapy is better than no therapy, and it really stuck with me, okay? That's the story behind that. But why is it that, like what if it's not retail therapy? What if I just like, no, it kind of is retail therapy the way I do it. I'll fully admit that. I shouldn't even try and like word my way out of me being like, no, I just buy things when I'm feeling a little down, you know? And it doesn't even happen that much, so like I really don't see it as an issue. But why is it, you know, because, okay, so let's say like you go do yoga when you're feeling down or you meditate. What inherently is making that better than just like going and buying something? They both take like time or whatever. They both take like, you know, figure 10 minutes. Especially if you go out to the store and buy something, that's a hoot now since nobody does that anymore. That's a huge time. That's awesome. Like, so, you know, I guess people would say it's bad because you're relying on something external. But is yoga not kind of external? Like, yeah, you can do it with just your body and nothing else. But I don't think that makes it any more, like, non-external, because you still need to commit an action. I guess would the argument be if you're absolutely broke, you can still do yoga and you can't do... So I guess, yeah, if you're absolutely broke, you can still do yoga, but you can't really do the whole going and buying something to make yourself feel better. I guess that makes sense, actually. I hate to admit that does make a large degree of sense. So maybe, okay, so back to what I was saying about like, you know, if I drink a bunch of water today, I'll die too, so everything's bad in excess, like that whole thing. Maybe the answer here is that retail therapy is good in moderation, just like everything else. Or maybe it's not retail therapy if I only do it once a month. Maybe I'm just self-conscious and it's all been a projection. I was working, okay, so explaining a little bit of this painting as I wrap things up here. What buttery brushes these are, by the way. The other ones I have are hog's hair. These ones are synthetic and they are buttery. Even though this was way too fat for what I wanted to do. So I wanted to paint materialism. I was working on this little side project for Bagatelle, which is just a, you know, passion project for graphic design. Graphic design is my day job, so sometimes what I'll try and do is come up with, just like do something for fun graphic design, because like I don't, like, you know, it takes the fun out of it if I don't do it for fun every now and again. So I did Bagatelle, which was a concept for a designer brand about loss of identity through consumerism. So that's what I wanted to paint here. It's a guy with a cube in front of his head. But I feel like that brush was too thick, and it does not look enough like a cube for what I wanted to go for. But I think the bigger reason is I should have shaded the cube. I wanted it to be black because I didn't want it to have like I didn't want to have a ton of form, you know what I mean? Because a cube can mean something, but like a cube that you can't even tell it's a cube can't. So I guess I did it right, it's just kind of ugly. But yeah, this is the painting. You guys know the drill. Go check this out over on the Instagram. Also, go check out my Piccolo action figure on Instagram if you have the time. I mean, you really should. It's really cool. It'll be up on my story still. I'll make sure to post another if it's not. And, oh wait, I won't be able to tell. Oh, it'll be up tomorrow. The Piccolo action figure will be up tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'll remind you again tomorrow's Paint and Talk. But until tomorrow, guys, gals, and pals, this has been Paint and Talk episode 44. I'm here every morning painting and talking with you all.